Fairy, fairy in the bower, come upon this golden hour. Come to me on fairy wings, see the treats and creamy things. I've got that in my head as I choose an opening card from probably my very first oracle card deck, actually, that I ever got. Way back when. Being called to work with the land spirits very, very intensely. If that sounds like you, pull up a chair. Working with animal and fairy inspired decks today. So at the bottom of this deck, we've got the Singer of the Chalice. It's goddess energy. The goddess is here, the Great Mother. I don't know how I'm going to arrange this. I'm still working on my physical setup. So just bear with me. I'll probably just read and then slide them out of the way and move on to the next deck. So we've got, yes, okay. So this is very similar to the messages from yesterday's reading, but in a different sense. What the land spirits are asking us to do is to notice the signs, notice things that are happening around you and happening to you, and how they are signs and symbols of the spiritual work that's going on, the spiritual commitments, and even for some of us battles that we are tasked with, the challenges that we're tasked with. If you have a sudden burst of frustration or anger, what is that, like over something seemingly inconsequential? Like what is that telling you about where you are right now? What in the bigger picture in your life, in, overarching society and your spiritual evolution is frustrating to you? What are you frustrated by? Maybe it's a lack of freedom of movement. Maybe you're trapped by obligations or by people, by circumstances, and understand that those moments of anger, of outburst, of grief are pointing you in the right direction, pointing you to your next destination. They're letting you know that something is wrong, that something needs to be changed. And, of course, as a broader society, we're also undergoing these transformations. He of the Fiery Sword, that's the divine masculine principle, initiating energy. I'm also seeing protection, again, battle, the flames, the uprightness of the sword. This image intuitively is also speaking to me of the uprising of our indigenous pagan beliefs. Europeans, for those of us who are descended from Europeans, European diaspora, or currently live in what's now known as Europe, or our ancestors are from there, believe it or not, our people, our ancestors had indigenous pagan practices and, forms of shamanism, forms of psychedelia, forms of consciousness exploration, all these things. We had our own practices that were, stolen from us, that were eradicated. There's an amazing quote that I'm going to paraphrase, and I will put the quote in its fullness in the caption. It has to do with the fact that the powers that be, those governments that sent out ships full of people who violently colonized and oppressed indigenous populations around the world, yet they learned how to do that by doing it to the people at home first. So when you think about the Roman Empire or, the Catholic Church, rampaging, basically ravaging the native people of Europe and, those who are indigenous to Europe. I'm saying not like, those who are indigenous to those lands who had been there forever, or almost forever, they eradicated those indigenous spiritual practices and fine-tuned those weapons and those tactics before then taking those techniques and exporting them around the world. So what this here, the fiery sword, is showing me is that rising up to reclaim those practices and to take back our power from these powers that be that have been oppressing our spirituality for how long is a millennia? Is it 1,000 years? For a couple thousand years? This also, there's a sense, again, of just like what we talked about yesterday, there's a sense of the rug being pulled out from under us, of confusion, foggy thinking, difficulty finding the words, feeling gaslit, feeling confused, not being able to kind of find your way, the sense of being lost in a mist or unsure of which direction to go to. You may not even realize that you're feeling confused lately until maybe you hear me say this, or until you kind of sit down to compare notes with a friend or trying to like recount your week last week. It feels like the past week or two have been particularly trying on the global scene and traumatizing for all of us, especially those who are living through these truly insane events that are going on. And it's being reflected for a lot of us. If you're part of this collective, then you're going through major transformations and battles, downloads, things that are kind of being distracted. I even personally, for me, I'm having a hard time verbalizing, like when I'm channeling, even more so than usual. Change is underway and it's disorienting. Let's leave it at that. And then this card has to do with, if you think of it, similar to the Eight of Wands, which did appear in our reading yesterday. All of the things that are going on now, everything that you're feeling, from frustration, confusion, anger, righteous rage, fogginess, distraction, feeling embattled, feeling like you're up against a wall, up against a big obstacle. All of these things are the wheels turning, are sort of a swiftly running river, ocean waters churning. This is the energy of change and action. Don't be confused about that. And the one in charge of it all, the one it's all leading back to, is the goddess, the divine feminine, the matriarchal indigenous religions that we as human beings, as humanity, emerged from. The original human religions were shamanism, paganism, God, divinity made manifest in all of existence. Okay, and that's what this collective is fighting for, is working towards. So I'm going to pull it to that end. I'm going to pull a druid animal card to guide us on the journey. Holy crap, I can't make this up. Oh my gosh, the dragon, the fire dragon, and it is the year of the dragon this year. Fire dragon. Okay, so that is awesome. I'm going to just put that here. This is our guide. So the fire dragon, creativity, destruction, the cycle of destruction and creativity, destruction, birth, death, rebirth, being forged in the fires, honing and refining our gifts. Oh gosh, what's the other thing I'm trying to say? Magic, divine inspiration, the divinity within everything. Indeed, war, battles, fighting, weapons. Reclaiming our power. Okay, that is so cool. I cut the deck and flipped it over, and there it was. I'm so sorry that I didn't shuffle on camera. It's just so close So I'm shuffling off to the side. My normal setup, I don't have my normal setup for filming, so just bear with me with the quality here. Let's see, so I'm going to pull a few cards. Let's do 4. Feeling 4s today. I saw 444 earlier, and 4 is building, 4 is structures, stability, cooperation. And we'll do here. Okay, so moving our fire dragon aside. What do we got? Oh, wow. Knight of Wands, more fire. 5 of Pentacles again, just like yesterday. The Hermit and the 3 of Pentacles. Okay, and these animals are amazing. Is this a Wolverine? I'll have to look it up later. Okay, so the Knight of Wands, rushing forward. It is the suit of fire. The wands are fire. Charging ahead, creativity, energy, lust for life. I'm also hearing irritability. Maybe I'm projecting because I've been irritable. But there is a sense of irritability. There's a sense of like, stay out of my way. Let me do what I want. Passion. You have a vision and you just want to go for it. The little details and little burdens of life causing a great deal of impatience. Just wanting to get on with it already. And also the sense that things are underway. 5 of Pentacles, again, 5 is change. 5 of Pentacles, this is a lot of instability. What's interesting is it looks to me like these are chrysalises and this is an owl. It's an interesting combination of symbols, and in the background it looks like sort of a roughly hewn pentagram or 2 or maybe 3, like lattices from which these are hanging. So yeah, and that tracks because what I was going to say is that, often the 5 of Pentacles for me is about instability, and it can be a symbol of like changing jobs, job loss, or just transformation. The part of change where we feel scared, where we feel unsure about how this is going to turn out, unsure about our own security. And in this, I feel that the reason why I was drawn to this deck and why this card has come out is to show that actually this is not about loss and about fearing something. Oh, I just noticed there's a caterpillar down here. This is about transformation and metamorphosis. And the instability that we're feeling now is a process of change, transformation, and metamorphosis that's going to lead to a new life, a new world. I feel really strongly the message coming through that you are on the right track. It's going to be okay. It is also going to be scary. The battle is not over. It's not going to, be an open and shut thing. This is going to be an ongoing fight. So on the macro level, the ways that your life is transforming, it's going to be a long fight. It's not going to be as simple as like one conversation, everything's good, sure, yes, all parties are in agreement, and now we change. And the tough part is just, little details like packing your bags or whatever. And on the macro level, as we've seen, the powers that be, the patriarchal structures, the horrifically toxic and dysfunctional, twisted, sick and twisted paradigm that the structures on which our current society are resting are doubling down. They are not like, okay, we've heard you. They are not going to let go without a fight, without discomfort on our part. It's going to take ongoing discomfort. It's going to take real change, not just like somewhere out there, somewhere in the halls of justice, somewhere in a government, conference room or something far away, but in our daily lives, that's coming through really strong. changes in our daily life, ongoing, enduring, and we will need to have endurance. So this card is letting us know transformation is happening. If you're feeling discomfort, then you're doing it right at this point, because that is kind of the name of the game, having to completely rebuild a new world. The Hermit, what's interesting about the Hermit, which is the card of seeking and attaining spiritual wisdom and insight, insight into your life, but especially spiritual wisdom, is that they've used the spider here, and that this is the symbol that we're being brought to. What is the spider surrounded by? A web. The spider has created this web. This is not just about, going and finding a cave, retreating from the world, and finding like a golden nugget of wisdom and coming back to share it. This is creating the cave that you're going to. And in fact, what I'm seeing is it's not even so much about a cave, it's about creating your new life. And in that place of your own creation that you're guided to form, that is where you'll find the light of truth that will guide you. Three of Pentacles, finally coming to that. This is the card of cooperation, working together. Ultimately, none of us is an island, even the people who insist that they don't want to help others, they don't care about anyone but themselves, even they are not alone, no matter how much they may wish it. None of us is an island, and coming together, working together is what's going to be the future path. That's going to be our future, is realizing that we are all in cooperation, not competition with one another. And to that end, I also want to say that this talks about, a helping hand coming along. Friends, partners, not so much, I'm not talking about romantic, I'm not talking about you're definitely going to get married. This is not a love reading. I'm talking about our fellow, I don't know, comrades, what do you want to say? Like what's neighbors, friends, people in our lives, lending a helping hand, lending each other that support, mutual aid, that's the word I was looking for, mutual aid, helping each other out, and reaching out to one another. I heard link arms, building the new world together and building your new life together. I also feel like this, after emerging from the time of being a hermit from isolation, you're coming into a time of cooperation. Now, on the micro level, in your personal life, this could mean that, the trial, so if I take it like I'm reading for a person, just on a small scale, what I would see is like you have a lot of passion, you have a lot of ideas going forward, you're eager to begin a project. It's going to involve a lot of change. You may be afraid that, let's say this was a job, you may be afraid of losing your job. You may be afraid that your boss is mad at you. You may be afraid of instability, or there may be instability, something like relocation, something like, whatever kind of change may be. Ultimately, you will gain spiritual wisdom and insight from this. It can also mean you have spiritual insight, excuse me, and wisdom to draw from. And in the end, you come out a part of a team, a part of a group, a part of a community of cooperating people. So if you take that and extrapolate it to the big picture, it's similar to what we've been talking about. We're on a path. We want to create change. It's unstable. It can be scary. We have to utilize our spiritual tools. Also take that on the personal level. And ultimately working together, building that global village, building our own little local villages and helping each other out is where we're going to end up. So I know this is a long reading. I'm going to break it up into 2 parts for TikTok. I'm going to leave it all in one for YouTube. And for those of you in this collective, I'm out here. May this find you and may it find you well. And thanks so much.